With all of the rumors and leaks coming out about Pokemon on the Nintendo Switch, I definitely have some concerns, and today I'm going to share with you my three biggest, starting with the amount of content within the game. Now, I'm mainly focused on post-game for this one here, because Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon had Rainbow Rocket, but I still really miss the battle facilities that we used to have in the post-game, especially the Pokemon World Tournament from Generation 5. In Gen 4 and Gen 3, we had variants of a Battle Frontier, and there were many different facilities that you could go to, and one of them would have you challenging NPCs in the Pokemon game, others would have you renting Pokemon, and I get that Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon try to replicate that with its own version of it, but still, I would like a more organized facility with some extra games to play. Really just mimic the Battle Frontier from Generation 3, but you could also include the Pokemon World Tournament from Gen 5, because that was probably my favorite post-game feature ever. While it was nice challenging old evil team leaders in the Rainbow Rocket facility, in Gen 5, you got to rematch all the old gym leaders and champions. It was absolutely amazing. You could also have some more areas to explore through within the game that are locked behind this post-game that you have to become the champion first, and then you get to go to another area. This would mainly work for a more open-world Pokemon game, but I'll touch on that in the next entry a little bit more. But still, the amount of content within the game is definitely important, because when it goes from the 3DS, where Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon still had a lot of content, but there were definitely a lot of problems with that game that bogged down the overall experience, and I feel that if it goes to the Nintendo Switch, it's definitely going to have to fix a lot of those problems if it doesn't want to alienate many of the hardcore fans that disliked Gen 7 for some of the things that it introduced, and some of the things that it took away from the Pokemon series, like it took away gyms and replaced it with the new trials. Some people disliked that. I'm kind of on the fence about it. While I still prefer gyms, I don't hate the idea of trials, but this entry is mainly focused on post-game content. If there's stuff to do after you beat the main game that'll keep you going and have it not just be legendary hunting and breeding for good competitive Pokemon like it was in Generation 6 mostly, it would definitely be a better game in my opinion. The next concern that I want to talk about is, will it actually draw people over from the 3DS to the Switch? Now, I just touched on this, but it still needs to be expanded upon because it's a very big issue that I think needs to be addressed. Now, Pokemon has built a big fan base on the Nintendo 3DS. Pokemon is king on that console. They are the biggest player on the 3DS, and that's why it sent a big message to all the other development teams when it was announced that Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon were the last Pokemon games to be released on the 3DS. It's a signal that everybody else is going to be abandoning ship, because Pokemon is the head honcho on the 3DS. Now, making the switch to Nintendo's newest console, will it still draw people over? Because the Nintendo Switch is selling amazingly right now. It sold 10 million units in the first 9 months. It's absolutely incredible. But will it be able to draw the Pokemon fans over from the 3DS to the Switch? Now, we already have Pokemon Tournament DX on the Nintendo Switch, and this got some Pokemon fans to go over and buy a Switch, mainly Wii U fans who wanted to play as some of the new characters introduced in the game. You know, the Wii U Pokemon fans who really were into the game, big fans of the game, and wanted to buy it a second time on the Switch. But there were also a few fans who never got to experience Pokemon Tournament because they decided not to buy a Wii U, so they went from the 3DS to the Switch with that game. But there's definitely a lot to be desired for Pokemon fans going to the Switch. There hasn't been that main game yet to entice them to buy this new console. Finally make the switch. So if Pokemon on the Nintendo Switch is lacking in contents, like I just mentioned, and fails to get people to draw over, it's definitely a big concern about the future of the franchise. If Pokemon on the Switch doesn't sell the greatest, the Nintendo Switch may fail to reach its 20 million goal. It's a pretty high goal to reach, but considering the incredible launch year of the Switch, I definitely think it's possible. But now, my biggest concern about Pokemon on the Nintendo Switch, and this comes from the leaks that came out very recently about the game that I haven't covered yet, and I'm going to be covering it a little bit right now, is the new combat system. Recently, a rumor came out that the battle system of Pokemon on the Nintendo Switch will be simplified. It's been compared to the battle system of Digimon World games, which is more real-time, where moves are selected by a menu, but it also includes the option to attack or block moves, and it's compared to the battle system of Pokemon Tournament, where it's basically a rock, paper, scissors system, where there's attacks, blocks, and grabs. Now, while it seems like it's still turn-based in some aspects, it's definitely a big change from what we're used to in the normal Pokemon battle system. Now, I don't really think that the Pokemon battle system has to change. The graphics probably have to change from the 3DS to the Switch. They have to be drastically improved. However, the battle system doesn't, because it's been timeless. It's been over 20 years since the first Pokemon game has come out, and nobody's really complained about the turn-based battle system except for people who don't really know much about the Pokemon franchise as a whole. Now, apparently some of the developers were calling this new combat system innovative, but others are against it. So this split development team probably has an impact on how people are going to feel about this combat system and how the fan base will react to it. Now, I'm not entirely opposed to a change here. I think that if the change is good, it'll work out well, and it'll be a great innovation like the 3D graphics change from X and Y. While I still like the sprite-based Pokemon games, having the 3D ones is a logical step. And maybe people will feel the same way about this new combat system. Oh yeah, it was great the way it was, but I like this new way even better. Perhaps it's like that. Of course, we'll never know until the game is released, but this new combat system is definitely a big concern. My biggest about the new Pokemon game. Ever since we got this news, I've been wondering, how will this work out? Will it be a terrible change, but it could also be a good change? Definitely a big concern. But what are your concerns about Pokemon on the Nintendo Switch? Let me know in the comment section below. And also, while this leak does say that it's going to be coming out in 2018, I also have more evidence to support that in a previous Pokemon video that I put out. I'll have the link to it on the screen right now so you can check it out. Subscribe if you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.